So when you think back to our definition of strategy, the one part that we have not yet talked about is this question about market positioning. The question of where to compete and where not to compete, of course, we've talked about. But let me tell you about one particular tool that I've seen many people use, which can be quite helpful, but also which can be abused. And so I want to make a sort of a word of warning here. So quite often what people do is they think about 2 or 3 dimensions on which firms differentiate themselves. They will plot those 2 or 3 dimensions and then see where do different firms lie in this particular space. And then they will say, oh look, where are some open white spaces where there may be some market opportunities? So let me give you one example. Here's the US fast food industry. So what we've done is we've thought about 2 dimensions that customers quite often care about when they think about choosing different fast food chains. On the one side, we have the quality. On the other side, we have the price that people have to pay. Now, I just want to warn you, what we've done here is this is the US. Because quite often, actually, McDonald's, for instance, but other firms as well, have quite different positions in different countries. But in the US, McDonald's really lives down here at the sort of lower cost and somewhat lower quality level. Now, inevitably, someone will say, oh, look at this chart and look at that bottom right, open white space. There must be a great market opportunity. Well, of course, right, it's fairly easy for us to realize that maybe high-priced, low-quality fast food may not be the greatest idea ever. And, unless maybe you have sort of a franchise in an airport, right? But other than that, that's probably not the best idea. Now, of course, here this was rather obvious to see, but if the dimensions on these positioning charts is a little bit different, then it may be not so quite obvious of why this may or may not be such a great idea. I'm pushing this point for the following reason. A couple of years ago, there was a business book out there that got lots of press, and there was lots of good stuff in that book. But the main premise of this book, which was called the Blue Ocean Strategy, was that where you wanted to operate was in that part of the ocean where there's no one there, right? Where you can't see anyone else sailing. And that's why this ocean is blue. And you don't want to be in the red ocean, right? In the ocean that's red with all the blood in the water from all the competition that has been taking place. And that sounds very reasonable to me. I have, however, one concern, and that is my fear is that certain parts of the ocean are blue and you don't see anyone sailing there is because if you look under the waterline, there's a big reef there. And everyone who's tried to sail there sank. That's why you can't see anyone else out there sailing. It's like our bottom right quadrant here in our positioning chart, right? It's a big blue ocean and there's a good reason no one is there. So let's be careful when we go through this exercise and we identify this big white space or blue ocean. Let's first ask ourselves, has no one ever tried to go there? Are we really so smart that no one has ever thought about going there? Maybe that's true, but maybe it isn't. Maybe lots of people have tried and they have failed. And then we better first understand why people have failed and why we think we will succeed if we go into that space that's currently so wide open.